Imagine this. You cast your vote, thinking you're doing what's right for you, and suddenly, bam, your family cuts you off. Completely. No calls, no texts, no nothing. And why? Because I voted for Kamala Harris. Yeah, you heard that right. But this isn't just a story about politics. It's about family, identity, and what happens when the two collide. Buckle up, because this one's going to hit hard. Let's dive in. All right, let's get real. I never thought my vote would cost me my family, but here we are. Growing up, family was everything to me. We celebrated together, supported each other, and always had each other's backs. Politics? It was barely a blip on the radar. Sure, there were the occasional debates, but nothing that ever got heated. But when I decided to vote for Kamala Harris, everything changed. Suddenly, my choice wasn't just a vote. It was a dividing line. And the fallout? Let's just say it was more intense than I ever could have imagined. I'm sharing this story because it's not just about me. It's about what happens when personal beliefs clash with family values. So, let's rewind and start from the beginning. Growing up, my family was tight-knit. We had traditions, inside jokes, and a bond that felt unbreakable. Politics? It was more of a background topic, something that came up during the news but never really took center stage. My parents had their views and I had mine, but it was all pretty chill. They always encouraged me to think for myself, to form my own opinions. And I did. I never thought those opinions would one day drive a wedge between us. But as the political climate heated up, so did the conversations at home. What used to be lighthearted debates turned into something heavier, something more personal. And when election season rolled around, it felt like the stakes were higher than ever. I didn't realize just how much my vote would change everything until it did. All right, let's break this down. Deciding to vote for Kamala Harris wasn't something I took lightly. It was a choice rooted in my values, my hopes for the future, and my belief in what leadership should look like. For me, it wasn't just about her policies, it was about the bigger picture. Kamala represented progress, resilience, and a commitment to tackling the issues that matter most to me. Her focus on criminal justice reform struck a chord. I saw someone who wasn't afraid to address systemic inequalities and push for meaningful change. Her stance on healthcare was another big factor. The idea of making healthcare more accessible and affordable wasn't just a talking point for me, it was personal. I've seen firsthand how medical bills can devastate families, and I wanted to support someone who was fighting to fix that. And then there was her approach to climate change. Kamala's emphasis on sustainability and renewable energy felt like a step in the right direction, a way to ensure a better future for generations to come. But beyond the policies, it was her story that resonated with me. Here was a woman who had broken barriers, faced challenges head-on, and emerged as a symbol of strength and determination. That kind of leadership inspired me. It made me believe that change was possible, that we could move forward as a society and tackle the tough issues together. I knew my decision wouldn't sit well with everyone, especially my family, but I also knew that voting is one of the most personal and powerful ways to express your beliefs. It's about standing up for what you think is right, even when it's not the popular choice. So, I did my research, weighed the pros and cons, and made a decision that felt true to who I am. Voting for Kamala wasn't about defying my family or making a statement. It was about hope, progress, and the kind of future I want to help build. And while I knew it might lead to some tough conversations, I never imagined just how much it would change everything. And then boom! The moment my family found out, it was like a tidal wave of emotions crashed over everything. Shock, anger, disappointment. It all came pouring out. My dad looked at me and said, I thought I raised you better than this." That hit like a ton of bricks. My siblings? They didn't hold back either. One of them called me naive, and another said, "You've betrayed everything this family stands for." It was brutal. Every conversation turned into a heated argument, and the tension was unbearable. One family gathering ended with my mom in tears, my dad storming out, and me sitting there wondering how things had spiraled so far out of control. It felt like my vote had erased years of love and connection, leaving me to question if I'd made the right choice, not politically, but personally. The fallout wasn't just about politics, it was about identity, belonging, and the painful realization that sometimes standing by your beliefs comes at a cost you never saw coming. All right, here's where the real work began. Figuring out how to move forward after being disowned by my family. Emotionally, it was a whirlwind. One moment I felt angry and defiant. The next, I was overwhelmed with sadness and doubt. But I knew I couldn't let this define me. I leaned on friends who supported me, people who reminded me that I wasn't alone in this. Journaling became my go-to outlet, a way to process everything I was feeling without judgment. And therapy? Absolute lifesaver. It helped me unpack the pain and gave me tools to rebuild my confidence and sense of self. Practically, I had to create a new sense of community. Losing my family's support was devastating, but it also gave me the chance to connect with people who respected my choices and shared my values. It wasn't about finding an echo chamber, it was about surrounding myself with positivity and understanding. I also learned the importance of setting boundaries. Family is important, but so is protecting your mental health. If a conversation was going to turn toxic, I learned to step away. The biggest takeaway? Family isn't just about blood, it's about respect, connection, and mutual understanding. And sometimes, standing by your beliefs means standing alone, at least for a while. But that's okay, because those moments of solitude can lead to incredible growth. To anyone out there facing something similar, here's my advice. Take the time to process your emotions, and don't be afraid to seek help if you need it. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, and remember that it's okay to grieve what you've lost while still looking forward to what's ahead. You're stronger than you think, and you've got this.